Hey guys, welcome back to another video. You might notice I'm wearing the same shirt. That's because it's the same day. Yeah. We're doing another reaction. We're gonna check out Kerbal Space Program 2. I have not been on the internet the way I should be, so I have a lot of catching up to do. Again, just crazy busy with work, but we're getting back into it. And we're gonna check out Kerbal Space Program 2. This is another one that recently dropped. This is a big one. I know Kerbal Space Program 1 did gangbusters. A lot of people love that game. What's 2 gonna be like? Is it gonna be better than the first one? I know a lot of people have some big aspirations about this game because they made a lot of big promises. And as far as I know, apparently this version of the game doesn't have all the features that they said it would. So I wanted to check out this video here. The honest truth. Okay, I know a lot of people in the space community are excited about Kerbal Space Program. I didn't know if I wanted to watch those videos. I want to see the down and dirty honest truth about it. What's really going on? What's the game really like? Is it worth buying? And this seems to be like that video, so we're gonna check it out here. I'm gonna try not do too much talking. I don't want to stretch it out too much, but I don't think I'm gonna watch this whole video. I will link it in the description below so you guys can check it out yourself. Just kind of I like doing that just to make sure that the original content creator gets the views. I'm not here to again try to just get views for doing minimal content. I want to share this stuff with you guys. I want to start a discussion about this stuff, and that's why I do these reactions. But yeah, if you guys like this content, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe and hit the bell notification to know every time I post. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
Before starting this video, big thanks to Private Division and Intercept Games for sending me an early copy of KSP 2 for me to try out this past week. It's finally here, KSP 2, the long-awaited sequel to the hit game Spaceflight Kerbal Space Program. In getting an early copy, I felt like a kid at Christmas. This is a game I've been hyped about ever since it was first announced.
Now, I didn't play the Kerbal Space Program 1. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys think I should try this game out. I was a big Space Engineers guy. Space Engineers was my game. In my personal opinion, Space Engineers was the best space game at the time, because you could build anything you want. There were little restrictions. The developers kept working on the game. There were tons of mods. I can't even count how many mods I had in Space Engineers back in the day. And I played Space Engineers for a long time, even after getting involved in Star Citizen. I was a backer for Star Citizen for years and still playing Space Engineers daily. So for me, I feel like for a building game, if I was to compare Kerbal to Space Engineers, I feel like Kerbal had a lot more accurate science in it, but Space Engineers was just a lot more, I don't know. It to me is just different, and I decided to choose Space Engineers. But I know a lot of people were very excited about Kerbal. Again, it's just not something that I just chose Space Engineers. But yeah, they're definitely excited about 2. I don't know if they're gonna do a Space Engineers 2. You know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, hopefully they do. But we're getting Kerbal Space Program 2. It's out now, so.
Announced in 2019. All my plans for this week scrapped. I knew I was going to be playing it non-stop. So, do you know what I've done this week? I went and played Project Zomboid with my friends. Yes, somehow, a game I've been excited and incredibly hopeful for has left such a sour taste in my mouth. The only reason I kept playing it this week was to do this video. I feel really quite bad about saying this.
Oh, okay. Is the game not good? I don't know.
I got given a free copy, but I was told to be truthful, and well, this video title is KSP2, The Honest Truth. Rather than getting straight into some of the crippling problems...
Yeah, so that's the thing. I chose this video specifically because I want to know why. I know a lot of people have excited about the game. So I kind of want to know the bad before the good. I know I'm one of those cynical people. If I know what's bad about a game, it really kind of lets me enjoy what's good about it. I don't want to go into a game and hear everything that's good about it and then be surprised by the bad things. That's why I've never been anti I've never been like, don't say bad stuff about Star Citizen. No, that's never been my mentality. I have no problems with people saying bad stuff about Star Citizen because I want people to be very transparent about the game's limitations. It does have bugs. It is an alpha. Things are broken. You might have a bad experience if your PC is not good. And being real about those things really sets people's expectations down the right path. I think the big problem with games like Cyberpunk 2077 is that a lot of people had their heads in the cloud when it came to the game, and developers lied. Let's just be honest, the developers lied. But at the end of the day, everybody was expecting, quality that was up here, and when they got quality that was, down here, they were disappointed. So if I'm really going to get into this game, and again, I haven't played Kerbal Space Program 1, if I'm really going to get into this game, I want to know what's bad about it first, so I can just say, oh, I don't have a problem with that. I can look past that and enjoy the game. I don't know how negative he's going to be in this video. Hopefully not too negative, but I do want to hear what's really going on in the game
that currently plague the game. Let's talk about what the game has done right so far, and what is good about it.
Okay,
firstly, the planets from orbit look great, and the terrain is quite different from KSP1. Lots more flat land to land on, and even so, the height maps on the ground look way more interesting. On the surface, things could look a little better, and maybe with requirements such as a 3080 to run on high, you'd think they would, but
3080 to run on high. I was not expecting that. I didn't think that KSP was that much of a hardware intensive game.
Hopefully with optimizations and upgrades, they will do exactly that.
Yeah.
The planets and moons look more like their real-life counterparts too. That may or may not be a positive to some, but the moon now has basaltic flats. The ice caps on Juno are much smaller. It looks a lot more like our real solar system, which I quite like, being an RSS player. The new parts look fantastic, both in the VAB and in flight, and the new parts we have are a nice addition, even if they are basically all of the parts from the near future suite of mods from KSP1. Looks like the dev team really did put Natea to work. The launch countdown sequence is a really nice touch that adds a layer of immersion to the game that was previously not there, and the sound design for the game is amazing. Hearing the engines roar and crackle into life when you fire them up is breathtaking.
Yeah, it sounds good.
I know the devs spent some time recording real-life rocket sounds, and it shows. The in-game adaptive music is also a really nice addition, and my first attempt at landing on Juno was made quite epic from the soundtrack.
Okay, that's cool.
Even if it was rather comical being two giant balls and the almighty all-powerful...
I've seen some posts on Reddit from people in the Star Citizen community who have, made different ships and stuff like that in KSP, and I feel like that's pretty funny. That's pretty cool. But, a lot of people from the community also make ships in Space Engineers too. I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting one. again, I don't really know if it's really my cup of tea, but it does seem like an interesting game. Like, I can see why people like it, but I don't know. So far, I'm not sold.
Powerful new swerve engine. And that's about it for the good. Now for the bad, the ugly.
That's it for the good. I don't know. I feel like I know they were talking about different features, like stuff about like slingshotting around different orbital bodies and stuff like that. I don't know if those features are on this version of the game, or when that stuff is going to come out, but they also talked about being able to build bases and stuff like that. So I kind of want to hear a little bit more about that. I don't know. Again, maybe he didn't bring that stuff up because it's not in yet.
Ugly and the downright disastrous. One question on everyone's mind, the performance. On my 3070 Ti set to all highest graphics at 180p, I do get somewhat decent frames, but there are times when the game lags quite hard. Looking back at the Space Center around a couple of minutes after launching, looking at Kerbin from space, having a craft which contains more than 50 parts. Yeah, the performance isn't brilliant, but it does run. One thing about this video, I will not be speeding up any footage in editing, so you can get a feel for how the game runs with my specs, which will also be included in the description if you are curious. Okay, so I knew breaking ground parts and the like weren't going to be in KSP2, and I'm not bothered about that at all, really. Some parts missing is fine. We've got lots of new parts to play with instead, but what is bad is some really basic quality of life stuff that is not present in the game. The first thing, there is no thrust away indicator per stage. This is something that has been in the first game for as long as I can remember. I'm fairly sure they were there even before Delta V readouts were added in stock. The only thrust away you were given in the VAB is your first stage at sea level on Kerbin. This is not okay. How the hell are you supposed to design a Tylo lander and either...
I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know anything about this. I didn't play KSP1. I don't know. I feel like for a lot of new players, this might be one of those things that they don't really care that much about, but for a lot of people who play KSP1, they're probably thinking, whoa, this is a major step backwards. I don't know how I feel like when developers do stuff like that. Maybe it was a design choice. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe they should have, polled the community or waited to add this feature in before they released the game. But a lot of times when stuff like that happens in a sequel or a second game, you really have to think about it from the veteran player's perspective, and I know devs never do that, but the veteran players are kind of like what new players are going to be eventually. So by making the game from their perspective, new players kind of have a better footing in the game when the game does come out, because like what he's talking about here, it seems like that's something that could be really important to know about. Again, I don't know anything about that. I didn't play KSP1. If I were to play this game for the first time, I probably wouldn't notice or have a problem with that. But there might be gameplay that kind of requires it. So maybe, I don't know. But again, if you're playing this game for the first time, not having that, you might be like, huh, man, I don't know. But coming from KSP1, that might be a huge deal to you. So I really can't say if that's like a major, okay, don't buy this game because of it. I don't really think so.
Stage. Basically anything that isn't your first stage. Where is this button that lets you change what celestial body you're currently planning around and change between vacuum and sea level values? This is something I encountered with other spaceflight games such as Spaceflight Simulator, and a reason I don't really play them. Kerbal Space Program 1 did this perfectly, and I am sorely missing it right now. This isn't just applicable in the VAB, but also in flight. As far as I know, there is currently no way to determine your thrust to weight ratio in flight. This is not good. A similar issue is burn times. They don't exist, not in the VAB when designing, nor in flight. Not even when you plot out a maneuver. Well, at least not until you start the maneuver. Then it will tell you how long is left of your burn. So, say you have a 0.1 second long burn, which I had several times during interplanetary corrections, you don't know it will only take 0.1 seconds until you start. So there I was hitting Z and completely overburning because I had no idea how long it would take. Speaking of maneuvers, there is no maneuver planner and no precision maneuver tool. The maneuver planner, something added in the last update of KSP1, admittedly isn't brilliant, but at least it's something. I guess in KSP2 for now, we're back to getting out our protractors and calculating the angle manually whenever we want to go interplanetary, or at least until MechJeb 3 makes its way over. The lack of a precision maneuver planner means the only way to adjust your current maneuver is the old-fashioned way of creating a node and pulling. Not brilliant for fine-tuning your trajectories. I will be talking more about maneuvers in the next section, but on to the next thing, which is, as far as I could tell, there is currently no cheat menu. I know this sounds a bit weird, but I wanted to get some footage of all the planets, and without the cheat menu, I was unable to get to them unless I flew all the way there. This combined with the lack of a maneuver planner was quite annoying to quickly get some footage for this video. I tried multiple keybinds to get it up with no luck. This is also a problem if you want to test a certain part of a mission, such as an Eve ascent stage, without having to build the entire vessel and flying it to Eve. Maybe that's just something
No, I don't know how many people are really, getting deep into the weeds like that. I feel like a lot of people who play KSP kind of just use it to build stuff and goof off. But again, I don't really know anything about this game. I don't know if there's a progression system, if there's any benefits to doing what he's talking about. But to me, if I were to play KSP2, I would kind of just make goofy vehicles and crash them. But I know ultimately there are some people who might want to go hardcore with this game and like grind out some type of objectives. I really don't know why anyone would play KSP2 for that, but I know also there are a lot of things that you could do in the game that are, very scientifically accurate, so people might want to test out some maneuvers or plot some certain courses, and that is very cool. And if what he's talking about is something that you're like, if you're watching this video and you've played KSP1 or whatever, let me know in the comments down below. Is what he's talking about as big a deal as he's making it? I really don't know. I haven't played the game, I don't know, but to me it seems workable, but we'll see. He's saying it's a deal breaker, but I don't know, it seems workable.
I do personally that other people might not have a problem with, but it is certainly much more time consuming and not really in a fun way. And finally, and this is a big one, no auto strut. In my honest opinion, the rigidity of rockets in Kerbal Space Program 2 is probably at least twice as bad as it is in the first game. Every single rocket I was launching looked like it was one blue pill short of a party and caused many issues flying. This was even after strutting everything together using the normal struts in the game. But they only reach so far, and God forbid you want to have a section of your design connected by 2 docking ports, that just won't happen. I will say though, struts actually snapping in Kerbal Space Program 2 is really nice. I know many people over the course of the run-up to the game's release were complaining about the new UI. I was a staunch defender of the new UI, and I thought it looked really sleek and interesting. I still think it does look very sleek, but there are...
Oh, it's pretty cool. Look at that. You can see the little... in the upper right-hand corner, you can see the little Kerbal alien people, their face cams. Like again, I think that's kind of like a cool, quirky feature that this whole space program thing, and it's just these little green dudes running around the place trying to get into space. I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of neat. I don't know what the lore of this game is. What's the story behind the Kerbals? Or, why they're trying to get to space? What's their deal? Why is it so similar to Earth and our solar system? Again, if you guys know more about KSP, let me know in the comments down below. I see it sometimes on Reddit. People from the SC community talking about the game. It looks like kind of like a little cute fun game to play once in a while. So again, you know, this guy's saying some negative things, but it still seems like it's definitely worth checking out, and I might pick it up.
Are some problems with it. I've already mentioned no thrust to weight ratio at all, but there is space on the staging menu where hopefully that can be slotted in. But things like your altitude rounding to the nearest kilometer when you go 100 kilometers above sea level is a pain for getting precise orbits. I've already mentioned the lack of a precision maneuver editor, and actually those are really my only gripes with the UI. Apart from that, I still think it looks pretty damn nice. Next up is the maneuver planner, the quintessential tool for getting anywhere with any sort of efficiency in this game. I was so hopeful that the system in KSP2 would vastly improve and build upon the system we have in the first game, but it's pretty much the old push and pull system from the first game, with a new coat of paint, but lacking the ability to skip orbits. I'm sure that's going to be great for whenever I attempt to rendezvous in game. In its defense, it doesn't seem to jump around as much when you move it, but it still has the same problems from the first game, such as when trying to move its position, you might accidentally drag one of the vectors, changing your maneuver. There is now a button to just move it, but you have to click and hold it, which I personally found quite unintuitive. I've already mentioned several times the lack of a precision editor.
I mean, I don't know, a lot of this stuff seems pretty technical. I'll see here if I can kind of skip around in the video for you guys. What do we have here? Things in the second game done better than the first. Okay, general improvements I'd like to see. Okay, let's take a look at this part for a second.
This one will only be short, but the camera tools in the game, I think, are improved for the most part, but I still do miss some of the functionality of the old game. As far as I know, you can no longer change your field of view using Alt and Scroll like in Kerbal 1, and you can't use the middle mouse button to change where your ship lies on the screen. You can, however, use the arrow keys to move things around, but this seemed a bit weird, and
that's something that SC is going to try to do, is the control surfaces. I have no idea how that's going to work out, or how it's going to affect flight in game. That's gonna be very interesting. I'm very interested to see how that turns out, but looks like this guy's doing a ton of work here with his his control surfaces. But I'm very excited to see that come to Star Citizen. I have no idea when that's gonna happen. I cannot tell you guys or give you guys any kind of dates but that is a very cool piece of tech that I think is interesting, that is in KSP.
Probably just needs a bit of getting used to. Some of the new camera modes though are really nice, and I feel the camera at the moment is pretty good. There are just maybe a few small improvements that could make it absolutely wonderful. Hopefully a lot of these bugs will be patched out pretty quickly. Whilst playing this week, I was unaware of where I could send bug reports, but now that the game is out and I can talk about it, I have quite the list to send. Starting off, the game crashes a lot. For me, on average, around once per hour. This is obviously somewhat annoying, but this also leads me on to say the loading times are great. KSP2 loads so much faster than the first game. At least that's what it feels like. I didn't time it, and maybe my position on mods in the first one has skewed my opinion here slightly, but even loading a completely stock install of Kerbal 1 feels like it takes longer, so that's a positive. Trajectories are currently really bugged. They rarely show up at all when you enter another body's sphere of influence. Whilst playing this week, I went to the Moon, Dres, and Juna multiple times, and I only saw my trajectory entering those sphere of influences once. This, with no maneuver tool, no burn times,
well, I do want to say, I don't know, maybe this wasn't the best video to watch to kind of review KSP2. This guy seems like he's kind of going in on the game. Again, I don't really have a problem with that, but I'll probably watch another video later, kind of going into details, but I don't want to make this video too long, so that's kind of another reason why I picked this video. But yeah, kind of, you know, on my own time, I'll probably check out some more videos. I think the game looks interesting. I might get into it. I might check it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll say that's it for me here today. I love hearing from you guys. Let me know what you think. If you love this game, if you're a big KSP player and fan, let me know. Introduce me to your game. I want to know more about it. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys like the video, hit like. If you want to see more videos, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Salute.